Hey everyone, welcome back to a sim racing experience. My name's Jose and I'm a sim racer here in Miami. And today I just wanted to get into the backstory of how I got into motorsports and my whole kind of karting background. It's a short background, but it's a background nonetheless. So back when we were living in Puerto Rico, my family owned they owned the biggest motorsports shop on the island, and cars became a part of life very quickly because my grandmother also owned a tire shop and both shops were actually attached. So cars were always around and it became a part of life very quickly. And before I could even get into a go-kart, we were always at the track. My dad started karting at a very young age as well, so he had been doing that and he had already been involved with it on a business level, being able to kind of direct what was going on within the karting industry at that time in Puerto Rico. And this was right around 1992, I think it was, 93. 93 was when I started karting myself. So I was 5 years old when that started happening, and I've said the story before, but it was afternoon, kind of late night in December, and it was a Hanukkah night. I'm Jewish, so I was celebrating Hanukkah that night, and that whole week prior, my dad had been taking me to the shop just to fit me for a go-kart. And if you're familiar with seat fittings or whatever, I had no idea what was going on at the time. I just figured, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm just here getting to play with this go-kart. I really had no idea what was happening. And later on, when that night came around, that he hands me a box, and I opened the box, and this guy was in there. Let's see if this focuses here. There it goes. So this was my helmet that he had given me that night, and this helmet was painted specifically for me 25 years ago. It's got my name right there and Mario right up on top. I just found out a week ago. He just told me that this was modeled after Eddie Irvine's helmet. So if Eddie Irvine ever sees this, I'd love to be able to share this with him and show this to him, because it's really cool, and really cool to find out many years after that it was done after his helmet. So after I take the helmet out of the box, I'm like, well, where's the kart? And back then, of course, being a tiny little 5-year-old, the kart was just as small, and it easily fit in the bed of the pickup truck. And he's like, it's in the pickup truck. He had a red pickup truck back then, so he had just put it on there and walked out to the garage, and sure enough, there it was. And from there, it was a lot of just Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the racetrack, and just starting to learn this whole new craft. And I mean, there's not many people that get to do that at such a young age. And looking back on it now, I can't even begin to explain how fortunate I feel and how fortunate I wish I would have felt back then. Of course, back then you have no understanding of that and really no appreciation for what's happening. And now looking back on it, and so many years have passed, and it was such a big part of my life, and it clearly continues to be such a big part of my life. So, you know, I hugely thank my parents for being able to do that for me. And they probably never knew, you know, how intense of a love I had for the karting and the whole motorsports thing. And now being able to do it here on my own, it's really cool. And as I said in the video yesterday, it's helping my mental health significantly. So it's been a collection of the last 25 years of a lot of different influences that have led to this. And it's incredible that even now, when I was setting up to do this video, just looking around, there's still so much of that history just that I've been able to keep with me over the last several years. There's my helmet, my dad's helmet. This helmet, it's a little bit older, and it's modeled after Senna's helmet. There's a little painting of Senna when he was little. And this, obviously, it's an incredible piece. With Senna being such a huge name, it's cool to have something this unique. I still even have my dad's gloves. There's a picture in my room where, I don't know, that picture must be nearly 30 years old, and he's wearing those gloves, and the boots are still in my closet as well. And then I think probably most importantly, this is still very cool to have. I think this must have been the last one that I got. I probably was 7 years old or something when I got this one. And then there's the suit. This thing, I think I tried it on several years ago, and it was quite tight. I haven't grown that much more, but yeah, it's pretty cool to have that around and just be able to display it here in the office and be able to display it next to the sim. So, and even with all this cool stuff laying around, it also takes me back to where I think my mental health issues started. And let's not even call it mental health issues, because it's not. I think it was just where the pattern may have started, and then the term mental health came to be, and I'm just putting a label on it. But I recall a lot of anxiety going out on track. I was small, scared, and sometimes there would be people on track that were a lot faster than me, and even back then I would struggle with my confidence. So it was difficult for me to get out on track sometimes, and it was difficult for me to get into a rhythm just because I was either scared of crashing, or I would see people get into accidents, and that would just play over and over in my mind. And it was a scary thought for me to go out there and potentially hurt myself. So I think that's where the anxiety started, because I would go out on track and it would be this little 5-year-old kid, scared, just going around the track hoping nothing would happen. And there was some days where I'd be able to get speed, and I would live for those moments where the track was just empty and I can go out there and do my thing. But as soon as somebody got on track, it started to get a little, I started to get a little anxious. So maybe from there is where that pattern stemmed from. And, we left Puerto Rico when I was 8, and I got here, and I think pretty close to shortly moving after here, I remember my first ever real hit of depression. I was in 4th grade, and I can take you back to the exact place where it happened. And yeah, I mean, thinking about it now, maybe that's where it started, and it's ironic that we're able to go back to it now. But now I have this tool that I keep talking about, and I've been blessed to be able to build. And it gives me all of the feelings that I ever wanted from, being a competitive driver without that risk. And I've heard Boosted Media talking about the fact that he also deals with anxiety, and that's why he sold his race cars and built a simulator. And building the simulator has really opened my eyes up to kind of put things into perspective of what is really important. I love cars. I love cars, don't get me wrong, but it's also become something where I don't spend that much time fantasizing about them anymore, just because I prefer to spend my time doing something much more productive, and much more conducive to me, keeping my mental health at the best state possible. So having this here, being able to be competitive without having to worry about a single risk, really gives my mind a chance to continue learning, continue developing my confidence, and continue developing as a person. And I think that if I would have continued to try the karting thing, perhaps I would have been able to get over it, but you know, being able to only do it for 3 years and then stopping and then trying to get back into it at this stage in my life, I've said it before, it's way too expensive, and you know, probably right now I wouldn't be able to give all of the time and attention that something like that would need, but I can do it here on the simulator on my own time, and it gives me exactly what I need. So, you know, I'll keep saying it. It's an amazing tool for me to have here. And, you know, now being able to share these stories and to look back on the last 30 years of my life and realize that realize that I'm hugely passionate about, you know, both the karting and the mental health and, you know, the food stuff as well. And all of it has come together, you know, to produce what I've become. And it continues to teach me something every single day, and it continues to push this passion in me to share it with as many people as I can, which is really my end goal with everything that I've learned. I really feel that I've spent a lot of time by myself, and I really feel that all the time I've spent by myself, I've been able to learn how my brain works, and it's just something that I want to share because I know a lot of people deal with mental health issues, and I know that I would have loved to have something like this where I can listen to somebody share their stories and realize that everything that I was dealing with, or most of everything that I was dealing with, was something completely made up, or somebody else is dealing with it, and it's just part of being human, and it's just part of every single day life. And you're definitely not the only one dealing with you know, any kind of mental health issue. So that's about it for this one. I really hope that you liked this video, and if you did, I would really appreciate a like. And if you're into sim racing or mental health or just want to come and hang out, you know, please feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. See you later.